I use my iPad every single day, and I want to share with you the top apps that I use the iPad for. Now, there's really two key things I use the iPad for: productivity and entertainment. Like, that's it. I don't get bored of it. It's great, and I think you'll be surprised at just how many apps I really use because it's not a lot, but I feel that I can't live without them. So let's show you what I use. So when it comes to productivity, one of the first number one app that I use very often, they are note-taking apps. The top app that I do use is Collab Note. Collab Note is a free app that any of you could download out there, and honestly, Collab Note is probably one of the best notes app out there that I have tried. I have tried a good amount of popular notes-taking app like GoodNotes. I actually purchased GoodNotes as the first app to start with. I have tried Notability, and I have tried the regular notes that comes with the iPad. I have tried the one, what is it, OneNote, is it? From Microsoft. There's like this other one from Microsoft that I have also tried, but I would say Collab Note, it is my go-to app every single day when it comes to just jogging down my ideas, starting my day. That is the first place I go when I wake up in the morning. I just open that thing up, and this includes like my work day and weekends. I actually do use Collab Note even on the weekend and on weekdays when I am starting the workday or I'm on the weekend and I just want to organize exactly like what do I need to do, including my chores, shopping list, whatever it is, I jog it all down. Two things I like to use it for. First is, like I said, organizing my day, writing down my to-do list. The second thing that I do like to use it for too is I use it as a whiteboard. When I am video conferencing with my coworkers at work, I now also use Collab Note when I share my screen. I plug my laptop into my iPad and I then share my screen, and I share the window that my iPad is connected to show them exactly, like, use it as a whiteboard. I would draw things out, I would illustrate with the idea that I'm talking about, make relationship and connections through drawing things out to communicate my thoughts better, and it actually helps a lot. There's actually a lot of instances at work where when I know there are complex ideas that I need to share with my coworker, I will make sure I have my iPad with me that day so I could connect it and be like, hey, can you guys see my screen? And then I was actually start drawing them out like, hey, did you know that, for example, if this thing happened, scenario A, and then it goes to scenario B, this is how it connects to scenario C, which then connects back to scenario A, right? It's like really drawing it out, this relationship that sometimes might be hard for you to actually explain just raw through verbal words, without being able to visually show them what relationship you're trying to make from whatever demonstration that you're trying to show. So I use Collab Note a lot. Like those two scenarios when it comes to starting my day, to-do list, writing down all the things I love to do or need to do, prioritizing it. This is what I do. I write down my to-do. I write down a list of just like things that I need to do, and then I order it in the order of prioritization, like which one is more important to do first, second, third, and then I kind of go cranking like throughout my day. Pretty informal, honestly. I know there's a lot of other methods out there that people are way more rigorous in, like checking off their to-do list, keeping track, time stamping, everything that happens. For the most days, I am pretty casual with my to-do list, just kind of go cranking out. The most satisfying part is when I get to check off the to-do list and like, this is done, this is done, this is done. Like that is what makes me happy. And then the second scenario with Collab Note is I do share my screen and show it to my coworkers, and I would say that itself, it's probably like 60 to 70% of what I use the iPad for, and especially the iPad 12.9 inch. So this is the 12.9 inch. I have had used the iPad Air before, which is the 11.9 inch. And I think one of the biggest difference between the two iPad for me is the space, right? The real estate that you get from the 12.9 versus the 11.9 or 12 inch, like the smaller sizes, is that you do get a bigger real estate. honestly. I mean, an inch and a half or whatever doesn't sound like much, but when you actually look at the canvas and like the space you get in the bigger iPad, it does feel a lot different. And with that, it makes me want to write more. I had the Apple Pencil with my Apple Air as well, and to be honest, I rarely ever used it with my smaller iPad just because I feel a little bit more constrained when I need to draw a bunch of stuff down. And when I use the 12.9, it just feels like I have a big space to write a bunch of things down. It just feels honestly closer to like a regular paper size too. So I don't know, there's something like psychologically that I think it just makes me want to use my Apple Pencil with the bigger iPad a lot more than with my smaller iPad. So that collab note is my #1 favorite app, and it's like legit. It's not glitchy. It's not like anywhere less than all the other paid app. Like, this is a legit app. It's powerful. It's great. Like, it's just awesome. Like, try it. Collab note. Again, huge credit to the creator of this. Love, 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 love this app. I use it every day. Aside from taking notes, the other things that I do use for productivity when it comes to app is like Gmail and Chrome. I mean, I call it productivity because those are the things that I do keep track in my life. Like Gmail, I mean, everyone, I think almost all of us, a lot of us uses Gmail. Sorry, Outlook and other email people out there, but Gmail, obviously, it's like my go-to. At work, I use Gmail, you know, corporate version, but like I basically check all my emails, send out any emails, reply to any emails, whatever I need. So I do work and do personal stuff there. Gmail, it's like my go-to app. Every morning, probably the first app, to be honest, I open just to kind of make sure I check both my work email and my personal email just to see if there's anything, deliveries, things that I need to basically just take care of. Chrome, I personally use Chrome as an app a lot, both on my laptop and on my iPad. That is just my preference of choice when it comes to internet browsing. If you like Safari, good for you. And another, I would say, 2 new apps that I have used a lot more recently, they are my AI apps. So I use both ChatGPT and Bard when it comes to now asking questions, researching questions, learning about things, whatever. So for Bard, I access it through Google. So for those of you who don't know what Bard is, what do you mean? What's AI? What's ChatGPT? Those are essentially the new like AI chatbot, like artificial intelligence chatbot that you can now use to kind of like similar to what you would use in search where you ask a bunch of questions, but now you could have a conversation with essentially like a chatbot that is way smarter than any historical old chatbot that we have had used in the past, or I have had used in the past. And you could ask questions in natural language and it's able to answer those for you in natural language. So Bard, which is made by Google, have released one, you know, their version, they call it Bard recently, and basically it uses all of the information that are out there that's out in the public, analyze all of the search results that you would have gotten on like Google search, and then able to kind of summarize it for you in ways that you could read in a pretty concise paragraph, and then it still give you sources and links and like the traditional way of seeing things. So I've been using that a lot. Like, it's my go-to. Sometimes I do it for work. Let's say I'm trying to write a well-written email and it's a little bit too long, too lengthy, so I would ask Bart to help me shorten it by just literally saying like, hey Bart, help me shorten this paragraph to be more precise, and I'll just paste in the paragraph and it'll spits out a shorter version for me or give me a few options. So that's great. Same with ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT now through Bing, so I did download the Bing app so that I'm able to access their version of the AI chat, which is powered by, I believe, ChatGPT 4 if they haven't updated it. But yeah, I use both. Sometimes just test things out, and if I have any questions, instead of going straight to Google search and just start analyzing all of the search returns and going through every single article or what have you, I now actually go through these chatbots, like AI chatbots, Bard or ChatGPT, to start my questions, you know, whatever that I need to ask, guess some initial answer, but like keep in mind, if you do use them, they're still learning, they're still growing, right? It's still early stage, meaning some of the time the answer that they give you is not accurate. It's not correct. And they could sound very confident, but you gotta do due diligence to kind of double check to make sure, especially if you're asking about like medical related type of questions, like I'm not feeling well, what does this mean for me, right? Like just do your due diligence, you know, keep researching, get a different perspective, read a couple creditable articles before you make a conclusion on something. But personally, I find it just super helpful for me just have a starting point to learn more about whatever topic that I want to learn more about. So those are the other two apps that I do use for productivity. And honestly, I would say those are my main productivity app. Like, believe it or not, like I have not gone much more fancier than that. I don't actually have a lot of apps that I use on a daily basis. They're usually just repeated apps that I use every single day. They're the same apps and I still love it. Like I still use my iPad all the time. Now let's talk about the fun stuff, which is entertainment. Like I think most of us out there uses the iPad for entertainment, right? Like browsing the internet, watching movies, like watching YouTube, like all of those things. I think a lot of us love using the iPad for because it's just so easy. You just hold it in your hand, you know, use your finger, browse through left, right. I think when it comes to especially like shopping, doing shopping on the iPad is just so much better sometimes than the laptop because you do a lot of scrolling when you're trying to search for the right shoe, shirt, whatever it is, and scrolling is just so much faster than you could with a mouse or whatever. I don't know, in my opinion. So I love doing that. But when it comes to entertainment, the one app that I love going to a lot is actually Pinterest. Like that, from an iPad perspective, I love using Pinterest because especially the 12.9 just give me such a big space to look at everything on Pinterest. And that's like my morning coffee newspaper almost. Like when I drink my coffee in the morning or my matcha in the morning, I just browse Pinterest. That's my newspaper. That's my inspiration. That's my like dopamine dose for the morning. Like that's what I do and I love it. I love Pinterest because I find my food inspiration, my clothing inspiration, my furniture inspiration on Pinterest, and I just love being inspired. Like there's certain things that I just love seeing pretty things, and Pinterest give me that inspiration of like, well, what is a good snack? Type in snack and just gives me a bunch of ideas, or healthy snacks or whatever it is, and cooking recipes, they're super good for that. So Pinterest is actually my top entertainment app. I don't even like using TikTok, for example. Like TikTok I use a lot on my phone, same with Instagram, but when it comes to my iPad, I mean, I just don't like feel like the iPad is really made for TikTok or Instagram, you know, like those type of social media. Like I don't know, it just does, I mean, you could watch it, but it just doesn't feel great. So I use this more for Pinterest. And the second popular app, almost on par with Pinterest because I leave this app on in the background a lot of the time, that's YouTube. I watch YouTube to fall asleep. So when it comes to just the app being open the longest as an entertainment or even learning app, it's YouTube for me. I would go on YouTube, whatever I'm interested in at the moment, I will watch that. And most of the time I love having noises in the background, like TV noises, whatever. YouTube now is like my TV. So whenever I feel like, ooh, it's a little bit too quiet in the background, even if I'm not watching it, I will just leave it on just so it feels to me more lively wherever I'm at. So YouTube, it's like almost always on my iPad, like always, especially when I sleep. I put that thing on until basically I fall asleep, and until YouTube basically asks me, are you still watching? And no response means that I'm asleep. So YouTube is the, I would say, second or, you know, first app. Same with Pinterest, how often I use it. Now, another entertainment app, aside from, let's just throw out the obvious, like Netflix, Hulu, those are the two that I have subscription to. So yes, I do watch Netflix, I do watch Hulu. You know, here and there, I wouldn't say all the time though, but it is, you know, there are two entertainment apps that I do watch videos or movies or whatever on my iPad. But another two apps that I use for entertainment is Zillow and Redfin. Yes, I'm a recent home owner, but I mean, I still look at house prices just to kind of continue to see like what is around my neighborhood, things like that. And that that just keeps me entertained. And then when it comes to shopping, Amazon is my app, like most of us out there. I love shopping on my phone, on Amazon app, or on my iPad. Either way works for me. And honestly, that's it. Like those are like the top apps that I use on my iPad almost every single day, and I haven't stopped. And it's not, again, not a lot of crazy list of things on the iPad. Those are just my go-to every day that I use, and I still love it. Haven't stopped using it. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.